ZG Jewelers purchased fashion bracelets for $38.87. This jewelry store regularly marks up fashion merchandise 52% of the selling price. What's the minimum selling price that they should charge? Okay, so as always, what are they asking for? They're asking us to find selling price based on the fact that they regularly mark up their fashion merchandise 52%. So now we gather any equations we might need. For selling price, the equation is selling price equals cost divided by complement of the markup rate. Now in this context, remember that complement refers to the number 100% minus whatever the number is. Okay, so for example, if I'm dealing with 25, the complement of 25 is 75. If I'm dealing with 2, the complement of 2 is 98. If I'm dealing with 100, the complement of 100 is 0, and so on. So, let's see what we have here. Do I know these items? Well, I know that the cost is $38.87. Remember, cost refers to what the manufacturer or the retailer pays to get the item from perhaps a manufacturer. So my cost is $38.87. The complement of the markup rate would be 52 is my rate. So the complement of 52 is 48. So I write 0.48, remembering to convert to a decimal. That's all I need to do to set this equation. So I solve and I find that my selling price is $80.98. So the key is really just to remember what a complement is. Again, in this context, it's 100% minus the number at hand, and remembering to convert it to a decimal. Let's do one more. So we have this bookstore that regularly marks up books 40% of the selling price. The bookstore's cost on a new bestseller is $12.95 per book. What is the selling price? Okay, so again, we need to find selling price based on this equation. That selling price is calculated by cost over complement of our markup rate. Okay, so what do we know? We know that the cost to the bookstore is $12.95 per book, and now we find the complement. So if the rate is 40%, the complement is 60%. So if the complement is 60%, we write 0.60, the decimal form. And finally, we solve for selling price. $12.95 over 0.60 gives us $21.58 as our selling price. So again, the key is to recognize that we need to find the complement. The key is that we need to recognize that we need to find the complement, and then remember to convert it to a decimal. Also be careful with this. Don't just assume going forward that every problem is going to require you to find the complement. Use reason, use common sense to figure out when the complement is needed.